Welcome to the Sports Bash pre-show presented by The Tap Room, located at 44 East Main Street in Bayshore. They offer a great gastropub and dining experience for friends and family. Whether it's freshly crafted drinks or in-house pub fare, they're the best place to go to watch the game or an informal gathering. Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz, 631-451-1039. The number to call later on in the show. Coming up on the show, I'll be joined by Brandyn Pokrass from Jets X Factor. It's Free Ticket Friday. We're giving away 2 tickets for the Beach Boys at Jones Beach on August 8th. And we'll check out the Sports Bash Media Poll Question of the Day. We'll have this day in sports history as well. It's time for the Sports Bash Flash. It's brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash, get a free dessert with your meal. Yankees and Mets both off yesterday. Last night in Massapequa, Yankees pitcher Clark Schmidt did a youth baseball clinic. It was presented by Pioneer Sports, and I had a chance to catch up with Clark for a few minutes before he started with the clinic, and I asked him about his rehab from the lat injury and when he might be back on the mound. I think there's a lot of Yankee fans waiting to find out, when is Clark Schmidt going to be back on the mound? How's the rehab from the lat going, and when do you think you might be able to start a rehab assignment?
Yeah, really good. I think I don't want to put a date on it, but very, very soon. I'm supposed to be facing hitters within the next week, so I would say a rehab assignment is right.
Looking forward to seeing Clark Schmidt, back on the mound for the Yankees very soon. Yankees open up a series with the Blue Jays at Yankee Stadium. Tonight, the Mets open up a series with the Angels in Anaheim. Big day for the United States at the Olympics. American Katie Ledecky becoming the most decorated American woman in Olympic history yesterday, her 13th career medal. Also the gold for Simone Biles in the gymnastics all around for the women, and the USA women's basketball team, they win yesterday as well. So a big day for the United States in Paris at the Olympics. Today is August 2nd, and for those of us who grew up here in the New York area and were around in 1979, especially for myself as a Yankees fan growing up, August 2nd, 1979 always is a day to remember. And it's not a day to remember for good reasons. It's a day to remember for being sad. And growing up as a Yankee fan, Thurman Munson was my favorite baseball player. Still is to this day my favorite baseball player, and he's right there 1 and 2 with former Islander great Mike Bossy as my 2 most favorite athletes ever. On this date in 1979, Thurman Munson tragically died in a plane crash in his hometown of Canton, Ohio. I've been very fortunate to be in Canton a number of times over the years. I've had a chance to visit, the resting. Sounds kind of morbid, but it's not like you want to visit a graveside. But I've had a chance to see where Thurman Munson was laid to rest a number of times. Very, very special. Very, very emotional. Again, when you have a chance to have that kind of connection with one of your idols growing up, it's pretty special. I've had a chance to meet, his wife, Diana Munson, a number of times. So it's just a day to remember. He was such a great baseball player, and from everything I could gather, just a great, human being, a great husband, a great father, and was just so tragic. I remember where I was. I was living in Forest Hills at the time, and there was a playground across the street from our apartment building, and I was there every day after school, and my uncle, who lived nearby and worked nearby, would always drive by to see me in the playground. And that day he stopped by and said, "Did you hear Thurman Munson died?" And I didn't believe him. I had to go to his car. He rolled down the window, and I had to listen to it on the radio, and that's how I found out about it. So for Yankee fans, for New York sports fans, whether you're a Yankee fan or not, it's a very sad day, but it's also a very special and reflective day to remember what kind of person he was on and off the field. So again, Thurman Munson, my favorite baseball player. Again, condolences to his family, to his friends. May he rest in peace, and obviously a big part of Yankees history. And one last thing about Thurman Munson. He belongs in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and hopefully there will be a day where finally his wife and his family can celebrate his accomplishments on the field, and Thurman Munson will finally get his spot in Cooperstown one day. Sports Bash coming up in just a matter of moments.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. Sports Bash is also brought to you by Dr. Anthony Ippolito at Chiropractic Care Plus, located at 1 John Street in Babylon. Chiropractic Care Plus is the only choice when searching for Long Island chiropractors. Give Dr. Ippolito a call at 631-669-6221. And by the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. Third annual Bowling for Wishes event is coming up on August 23rd at Levittown Lanes in Levittown. For more details and to purchase tickets, go to martylionsfoundation.org. And by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing production facility. For more info, call them at 516-509-8277. Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz. A good Friday morning to everyone. Vinny Tickets has the day off. 631-451-1039 is the number to call. Later on in the show, we'll check out the Sports Bash Media poll question, and we'll have This Day in Sports History with WizKid Vinny. But we're going to talk about the New York Jets a lot on this show, and that brings us to our guest on this Friday edition of Sports Bash. A lot going on at Jets training camp, and I want to welcome in to the show a good friend of mine. He covers the Jets for Jets X Factor. He is Brandyn Pokrass, and he joins us here on Sports Bash. Brandyn, it's Peter. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking some time out of your Friday morning to join us. So you know this, Brandyn, as well as I do, and I've been around this team for a very, very long time. When it comes to the Jets, there's never a lack of drama. And I thought when we were initially going to talk on the show, we were going to start talking about Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and their animated conversations. But obviously that changed yesterday with Tariq Cohen, who was signed to be the Jets kick returner this year, and was just talking to reporters the other day about how great he felt and how excited he was to be a Jet. He tells the Jets yesterday that he is retiring. So what was your reaction to hearing that news?
I was honestly pretty shocked because through basically up to this point in camp, he's looked pretty good. Looked like he was getting his shiftiness back. It looked like he was explosive. He didn't necessarily have the long speed that he had when he was in his prime, but he still looked like he could make an impact. And especially with these new kickoff return rules, it seemed like with his ball carrier vision and experience on special teams, like he said in his press conference, it kind of felt like it was a role completely designed for him. And the fact that he just up and retired, you never truly know what's going on in someone's head. This is a player that's been through so much, so many injuries, so many struggles with life that, I personally wish him all the best. And, it opens the door for other players now. But it truly was shocking for me to see that news.
Where do the Jets go from here at the kick returner and punt returner spot, Brandyn? Do they go back to Xavier Gibson, and do they take a look at the waiver wire closer to the end of camp? Do they scour around and maybe make a trade for a kick returner?
I think for now they're going to look internally because you like you said, you have Xavier Gibson, who was their returner last year. You have Malachi Corley, who I think could possibly even thrive in this role, but at the same time, he's going to need to play a big role in your offense this year. They've worked out Tyler Harrell and Brandon Codrington, some UDFAs who I think could make an impact. I personally like how Harrell has looked in practice on returns. And then maybe you take a look at Izzy Abanaconda now, once again, because
he's healthy, right? He's healthy, all set to go this year, right?
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily working there because of, they had Cohen, and they had Gibson, and they had Corley back there. I mean, maybe Izzy finally gets some reps there. Or maybe now you see Isaiah Davis take a bigger role because of how the play is more like reading blocks, like a running play, instead of just an athleticism test. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch because one of the presumed front runners for this return role just retired.
Mm-hmm. So it's obviously an issue the Jets are going to have to address either internally or look around and as camp goes on to see what they want to do at the kick returner position. Let's get to the Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson saga. And look, I've been around this team enough over the years to know that when when something like this happens, there's members of the media who covers the Jets. They look for the littlest thing to try and drum things up. And then certainly when it's come to Aaron Rodgers over these 2 seasons, they're like, it's like the sharks are circling in the water. So when you see Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson having an animated conversation on the sideline, you could go in one of 2 directions. Number one, it's a 40-year-old future Hall of Fame quarterback that's here to lead this team, hopefully to a Super Bowl, talking to a young receiver who's got a chance to be one of the best ever. I thought this whole reaction to it was overblown. I think this was actually a good thing that you had the teacher holding court with the young student.
Yeah, I mean, the way I've looked at it, and I've seen people blow it up, and people are like, "Oh, is there trouble in paradise?" It's 2 competitors that want to be the best at their craft, pushing each other to be better. In any walk of life, when you put competitive people together, there's bound to be arguments. There's bound to be people butting heads. That doesn't mean there's necessarily issues. It just means that those people want to push each other to reach the mountaintop, to reach the highest level of that profession. Rodgers has reached that point. Garrett Wilson has shown that he wants to reach that point too. So when you put those 2 together, they're going to push each other because, look, the connection's been very good up to this point in training camp, but it can be better. And those 2 players know it, and those conversations, as both Rodgers and Wilson talked about, they're nothing. They're just 2 guys wanting to push each other to be better. Rodgers sometimes has a critique for Wilson, and Wilson, who is finally working with a quarterback that he can have these conversations with, is pushing Rodgers to be better and critiques Rodgers on maybe something that he's doing that Rodgers hasn't seen before. So it's one of those things where I look at it and it's competitiveness. It's sports. And unless it becomes something ultra serious in the regular season, I'm not sweating it whatsoever.
And neither am I. And I think this has a chance to be another coming of Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, and hope they have the same type of chemistry going forward. We're talking to Brandyn Pokrass from Jets X Factor here on Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. Let's go to the other side of the ball in the Jets defense. And look, I think we saw this a lot last year. You look at this Jets defense, and it's got a chance to be so good. Whether you're talking about up front with Quinnen Williams, and you got Jermaine Johnson in the mix, and C.J. Mosley in the middle, and Sauce on the back end. I mean, this defense, Brandyn, loaded from front to back. How good can this defense be?
I think it can be as good as their depth takes it, and the reason I say that is, we know.
By the way, I forgot to mention Quincy Williams, too. So there you go.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But you know the stars, right? You have your Quinnen Williams. You have your Jermaine Johnson. You have Hassan Reddick once he arrives to the team. You have Quincy. You have Mosley. You have the guys on the back end with Sauce and DJ Reed and Michael Carter. But if Chuck Clark steps up, and he's looked really good in camp so far, if he is that...
They really had some big hopes for him last year, and he got hurt.
Yeah, if he's that short tackling safety that can give you something in coverage, that raises the potential. If you get impacts from Jamien Sherwood and Will McDonald, that raises your potential. A breakout season from Javon Kinlaw, that raises your potential, right? Tony Adams. It's not necessarily about the stars because you've seen what the stars do. You've seen what they bring to this defense. If you get those other guys pushing themselves to reach that point as well, the Jets defense isn't going to lose a step, even with losing Bryce Huff and John Franklin Myers and Quentin Jefferson.
No question about it. Brandyn, we have about 30 seconds to go, maybe a little bit more than that. I wanted to touch on this. I think it remains to be seen how the Jets do on the field in 2024, but we do know they're going to look good on the field, going back to the legacy jerseys from late 70s, early 80s, and wearing the traditional Super Bowl III jerseys for a game this year. How excited are you to see what the Jets look like on the field as far as the fashion is concerned?
I mean, these are the jerseys I've wanted to see for years. I mean, in my opinion, they're the best Jets jerseys, and the second best Jets jersey they brought back as well. I've said it on social media. They're batting 1,000 with the uniforms, the redesign, the white, the green, the black, the the classic, as they're calling it. I really couldn't have asked for anything more when it comes to these uniforms.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch those jerseys pop on the TV screen or in person at MetLife Stadium. Brandyn Pokrass from Jets X Factor. Read his stuff. Great stuff online from Brandyn Pokrass. Brandyn, always good to talk to you. See you at training camp on August 13th.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. Great job. Brandyn Pokrass from Jets X Factor. Still plenty more to come here on Sports Bash. We'll have today's Sports Bash poll question, this day in sports history. Lots more to come. It's Sports Bash presented by Ticketbash.com for Facebook and YouTube viewers. Stay with us through the break. We'll welcome back our radio audience in just a couple of minutes. Coming right back. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Peter Schwartz back with you on Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. Once again, thanks to our guest from Jets X Factor, Brandyn Pokrass, for joining us here on the show to talk about the Jets as training camp rolls on. The Hall of Fame game was last night, cut short in the third quarter because of weather in Canton, so the preseason is officially underway. The Jets and the Giants will have their first preseason action next weekend, so we'll get more into that next week here on the show. But coming up, when we welcome back in our radio audience, we will have This Day in Sports History, our Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. Lots more to come. We want to hear from you at 631-451-1039. The radio audience coming back in just a couple seconds. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz. Vinny Tickets has the day off. 631-451-1039. The number to call. Still to come, our Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We'll also have This Day in Sports History, but it is a Friday. It is a free ticket Friday here on Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. And here's what we have for you if you want to rock to some really good music at the beach next week. We've got just the 2 tickets for you. It is 2 tickets to see the Beach Boys at Jones Beach. And next week, August 8th, it's courtesy of Ticketbash.com, where you'll never pay a service fee. And here's all you have to do to win those tickets. Be the second caller right now at 631-451-1039. That's 631-451-1039. If you are the second phone caller, you will win 2 tickets to see the Beach Boys next week at Jones Beach. It is time now for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We post a new poll question every weekday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. I still don't know. Are more people actually calling it, Wiz, you're up on these things. Are people calling it X, or most people still calling it Twitter?
No one calls it X unless
very few people call it X.
The only people who call it X are like the Elon stands, and outside of that, everyone still calls it Twitter.
I mean, I just call it Twitter. I send out a tweet, check out Twitter. But I mean, I think you have to just cover yourself and say X/Twitter, because some people may have joined it as X and don't know from Twitter.
Not only that, just calling it the letter X sounds very ominous.
Maybe that should be a poll question. Maybe next week one of the poll questions should be, should we call it X? Should we call it Twitter? What should we call it? Maybe that'll be a poll question next week.
I would just do X/Twitter or FKA, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, listen, I spend most of my day thinking about poll questions, and I'm just maybe that's a question next week.
I got some ones for you that you can maybe think of them down.
All right, well, you know what? You email them to me, and I'll take them under consideration, because we'll see. Well, this is a democracy around here. It's not a dictatorship. As much as some people think it's a dictatorship, it's not. It's very much a democracy.
Which I love to hear.
Yes, absolutely. Well, when it comes to you, we never know. I'm just kidding.
It's fine.
First, the results of yesterday's poll question, Thursday Thursday's poll question, and this is, plays into what we've been talking about on the show as far as the Jets are concerned. Jet fans, how are you feeling heading into the season? And we had 4 choices: excited, cautiously optimistic, concerned, or same old Jets. And what a surprise. Who wins? Same old Jets with 47% of the vote. Then we had cautiously optimistic at 31%. I think that's where I lie in that if you're looking at the classification, I think I lie in the cautiously optimistic, 31%. And then there's 20% who are excited, and of course there's 2% that are just living their lives miserably. They just can't try to enjoy anything in life. They are concerned.
Oh, well, I can understand as to why. I mean, the Jets are seen by many people as the joke team. They're the ones that people are very easy to just go after and attack for a whole bunch of different reasons. Though I will say, USA Today is not only excited for this team, they see them winning the Super Bowl against the Packers, actually, which I think that's way too I don't think that's likely, but hey, stranger things have happened, I guess.
I think when you're a Jet fan, I think you actually hit on all 4 of them, because I start the season off being cautiously optimistic. Then you start to watch the film from practice, and you see Aaron Rodgers is healthy and slinging the ball around to Garrett Williams, and you get excited, right? Now something will happen during the season. You start to hear the drama, and they're fighting and this fighting. Then you get concerned. And then 4 plays into the season, Aaron Rodgers ruptures his Achilles tendon, and then it's the same old Jets. So we'll see what spectrum of emotions we have as Jet fans. By the way, congratulations to Perry in Center Each. You are the winner of 2 tickets to see the Beach Boys next week at Jones Beach. Where else would you want to see the Beach Boys?
I have a great
Jones Beach.
I saw him in Westbury once, and one of my favorite moments from it is that during the intermission, the line for the bathroom was very, very long. So, older crowd, that's going to happen.
I saw the Beach Boys one time. I saw them after a Yankee game at the old Yankee Stadium.
Wow.
Yankees played a game, and then they put the stage together on the field, and then the Beach Boys did like a 45-minute concert. They came around with Hawaiian leis up and down the section to make it really feel like a party beach atmosphere. So that was pretty cool back at Yankee Stadium back in the day. But hopefully Perry has a good time at the show next week. Now to today's question. And in the spirit of the Olympics going on right now in Paris, which American Olympic athlete would you love to have at the dinner table with your family? Well, I thought about it. Again, I think way too much sometimes about the questions, and I wanted to do something Olympic-wise. So I'm like, it's been a feel-good Olympics for the United States. Who would you want to join you and your family at the dinner table from the U.S. Olympic team, from anybody representing the United States? And I came up with 4 choices. LeBron James. What kid wouldn't want to hang out with LeBron James?
Of course.
Right? Now, Simone Biles, the GOAT, right?
Yeah, legendary.
Did it again yesterday. Katie Ledecky, who's now the most decorated female American athlete ever at the Olympics.
Incredible.
In the swimming pool. And if those 3 don't meet your needs, I put other. So comment below. So your choice is LeBron James, Simone Biles, Katie Ledecky, or other.
Well,
who would you pick?
Out of these 3, obviously LeBron James.
You picked LeBron James?
LeBron James has been a fixture in people's lives. It's been part of my life since before I even entered kindergarten. So,
I know Nick's not on microphone, but Nick, you can yell. You would LeBron James, Sebastiano. Do you have a choice of the 3 that I gave?
It's Katie Ledecky.
I'd probably go for LeBron James as well.
LeBron James. See, I'm going to go off the board. I'm going to say Katie Ledecky, because if Katie Ledecky comes to dinner with my family, she'll probably bring her Uncle John, who's the co-owner of the Islanders, and then we can have not just a swimming conversation, but you can have an Islanders conversation too. So that's where I would go.
I had a feeling that last name sounded familiar.
Yeah, there you go. So Katie Ledecky is the niece of the Islanders co-owner, John Ledecky, and he was in the stands cheering her on yesterday.
I will say this, not listed, if I were to list an other situation, I would probably go with someone outside the U.S. I'd actually be interested in Lual Dane from South Sudan, because he has funded this entire operation, and they're the youngest country in the Olympics, and what he has done for all these kids and all the athletes and these families have been unbelievable. I would love to have a dinner table with him.
I think my younger son Jared would pick Sabrina Ionescu. I think that's who he would pick.
Ooh.
Very, very interested in her level of play on the basketball court.
She's
I think.
great.
Absolutely. Now it's time for this day in sports history. We didn't give you a whole lot of time, but we'll give you like a minute or so.
Well, it's fine. Well, let's continue with basketball because in 1996, the U.S. men's basketball team defeated Yugoslavia, which was Serbia and Montenegro at this point, to earn another gold medal. And everyone talks about the 92 Dream Team. And, of course, we all know they're iconic. But do not skimp out on the 96 team in Atlanta because everyone that is on this team in terms of a player is already in the Hall of Fame. The only exception, though that might change potentially, Penny Hardaway. Mm-hmm. Like that entire roster was stacked with Barkley, with Malone, with Jordan was on there. I think Pippen was on there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that roster was entirely loaded. Rudy Tomjanovich, if I recall, was the head coach from the Rockets, of course. Rockets player, Rockets coach, but just another wonderful team for the United States. Hopefully they get the gold yet again this year. But either way, it should be continued to be a very, very fun knockout stage.
You have big plans for the weekend?
My plans are going out to Old Bethpage, actually, on Saturday, because there's going to be a function for the legendary Hall of Fame snub, Doc Adams.
Oh, is that the 1880s baseball?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know I played in one of those games once before?
Really? You
Many
did?
years ago. Yeah, I was having dinner with a friend of mine, and we were overhearing these guys talking about it, and told them who I was and who I worked for, and they invited me to play in the game. It is, let me tell you something right now. If you can get a chance to go to the Old Bethpage Village Restoration and see one of these 1880s baseball games, go check it out. It's pretty cool. I played first base in this game that I played in, and no gloves. And it's not easy to catch that baseball with no glove.
Yeah, don't call them plumbers and firemen because they're some of the best athletes you've never heard of.
Absolutely.
Or you'll hear about them soon.
That'll do it for this edition of Sports Bash presented by TicketBash.com. Thanks to my guest, Brandyn Pokrass from Jets X Factor. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Dr. Anthony Ippolito at Chiropractic Care Plus, the Marty Lyons Foundation, and by Collaborate Studios. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will be back after the weekend. We'll be right back Monday morning, 9 o'clock. Good luck to the Mets and Yankees over the weekend.